Welcome to our video dedicated to the timeless wisdom of Rumi, one of the greatest poets and mystics of all time. In this journey, we will immerse ourselves in the profound insights and spiritual teachings that have touched hearts across the world. From his reflections on love and self-discovery to his thoughts on the nature of existence, Rumi's words offer a guide to living a more meaningful and connected life. Join us as we explore these cherished quotes and let them inspire and uplift you. Random. What you seek is seeking you. This quote touches on the idea of the law of attraction, which suggests that we attract into our lives the things we focus on. If we focus on positive thoughts and intentions, those things will manifest. Similarly, when we seek something with genuine passion and focus, we begin to attract the people, opportunities, and circumstances that can help us achieve it. Rumi's words highlight the power of intention. When we set a clear intention, whether it's to achieve a personal goal, change our lives, or find happiness, that intention becomes a driving force. The more we focus on it, the more we align ourselves with the actions and mindset required to make it a reality. As a result, what we are seeking begins to come toward us because we're consciously moving in the same direction. Sometimes, the obstacles that prevent us from achieving what we want are our own fears, doubts, or lack of belief in ourselves. Rumi's quote encourages us to let go of this resistance, trusting that what we want is already on its way. If we relax, remain open, and stay persistent, we create space for what we seek to reach us more easily. What you seek is seeking you is a profound reminder that our desires, aspirations, and goals are not random but are aligned with something larger. It encourages us to have faith, remain focused, and trust that what we want is also making its way toward us. It highlights the interconnectedness of our inner world and the universe, suggesting that success and fulfillment come not just from pursuing but from being open to receiving. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I will change myself. This quote reflects an internal shift from youthful ambition to mature wisdom, highlighting the different approaches to life that arise at various stages of personal development. To truly grasp its meaning, we must first explore what Rumi means by cleverness and wisdom, and how the path to self-transformation is often more powerful than attempts to change the world externally. In the first part of the quote, Rumi describes a period of life where cleverness dominates. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world refers to a phase often associated with youth and early adulthood, a time when individuals are filled with ambition, optimism, and the belief that their intelligence or abilities are enough to reshape the world. Cleverness here refers to intellectual sharpness and an outward-focused energy aimed at fixing the problems of society, politics, or relationships. At this stage, there is a desire for sweeping reforms. It reflects a mindset that views the world's challenges as external obstacles to be overcome through action, control, and innovation. The clever person feels equipped with the tools necessary to bring about these changes, whether through inventions, leadership, activism, or other means. It's an ambitious and often ego-driven perspective, one that seeks validation through the impact made on the world. This phase, however, can be characterized by frustration and impatience, as the clever person often finds the world resistant to change or the results of their efforts falling short of expectations. This stage of cleverness is important, as it fuels creativity, exploration, and a desire for progress. Many of history's great figures, scientists, politicians, and artists, started their journeys with a belief in their ability to change the world. However, as Rumi's quote suggests, this external focus is only part of the journey. In the second part of the quote, "Today I am wise, so I will change myself," Rumi introduces a deeper understanding that emerges through experience, reflection, and maturity. As one grows older and wiser, the focus shifts from trying to control or alter the external world to realizing the immense power of inner transformation. Wisdom here is not just intellectual knowledge, it is the ability to see beyond the surface and understand the complexities of life. The wise individual recognizes that while the world is vast and multifaceted, the only thing we truly have control over is ourselves, our thoughts, attitudes, reactions, and behaviors. This understanding leads to a more profound form of change, one that starts from within. Instead of seeking to impose one's will on the world, the wise person works on cultivating self-awareness, patience, and understanding. This inner transformation not only leads to personal growth but also has a ripple effect on the world around them. In essence, wisdom is about recognizing that real, lasting change happens when we change ourselves. By improving our own character, values, and mindset, we naturally begin to influence others in a positive way. Instead of trying to fix the world's problems through force or control, the wise person leads by example, showing others the power of self-transformation. Stop acting so small. You are the universe in ecstatic motion. The first part of the quote, "Stop acting so small," suggests that we often limit ourselves. We tend to diminish our capabilities, hold ourselves back, and underestimate the impact we can have on the world. This smallness might stem from fear, doubt, societal expectations, or a lack of self-confidence. Rumi challenges this mindset by telling us that the constraints we place on ourselves are illusions. These limitations are often self-imposed, shaped by negative beliefs or the influence of external forces that cause us to shrink back from our true potential. Rumi's call to stop acting so small is a wake-up call to realize that we are more than our fears, failures, or past experiences. It urges us to recognize that we possess vast power, creativity, and wisdom. Acting small, in this context, means living a life constrained by narrow perspectives and limiting beliefs. The poet is urging us to break free from this mindset and embrace a more expansive view of ourselves. The second part of the quote, "You are the universe in ecstatic motion," presents a powerful spiritual metaphor. Here, Rumi draws on the mystical idea that we are not separate from the universe but an integral part of it. In many spiritual traditions, particularly Sufism, the mystic branch of Islam to which Rumi belonged, the concept of oneness with the universe or divine presence is central. It is believed that every human being carries within them the same creative energy and essence that sustains the universe. By saying, "You are the universe," Rumi is reminding us of our interconnectedness with all things. We are not isolated beings, we are deeply connected to the fabric of the cosmos. In a sense, we are made of the same material as stars, planets, and galaxies, sharing in the creative force of existence. The universe, in its vastness, is in constant motion, expanding, evolving, and creating. Likewise, we are dynamic beings, full of energy and potential, capable of incredible things if we choose to align ourselves with the flow of life. Rumi is telling us that when we recognize our connection to the universe, we can move through life with a sense of freedom and exhilaration. Instead of resisting change or limiting ourselves, we can dance with the universe, flowing with its energy and embracing the full scope of our potential.